Hi everybody, this is Instructor Phil. I wanted to do a really fast, quick demo for you talking about how to start with your prop design. So those of you that did the thumbnails today in class for your prop, they look great, really fantastic work, but what is the next phase? And I want to give you a little tip here, something that I learned when I was working in the industry that really helped us to draw and design props really quickly and to make sure your perspective is right on. So here are the steps. It's this simple. Step number one, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a grid. What I did here is I drew a grid on the bottom, copied and duplicated that grid, and put it on the top, matching it to the same vanishing points. So that's all I have to do at this point is draw a rough grid with a horizon line, VP1 over here on the right, vanishing point 2 over here on the left. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to take our marquee tool in Photoshop, and we're going to draw over one little part of our grid here. We're going to zoom into one little area. By doing this, we know that our perspective is going to be accurate, and then we're going to zoom into this, okay? What students tend to make a problem with is they tend to draw a grid with vanishing points on the page. We talk about this in the perspective class that I teach here at school, okay, in applied perspective. And then what they do is they draw the subject matter too large, and we get a high level of convergence, you know, where the vehicle's like converging from here going all the way down to that vanishing point. It looks horrible. So this is the secret, how we avoid that. We draw our grid, we take our marquee, we're going to copy that, copy it, and then I'm going to turn off the grid, then I'm going to paste it. Bam, there's my grid. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to transform that and I'm going to make that really large. And it's going to be a little pixelated, but that's okay because I'm going to draw on top of this, okay? The next thing I'm going to do here, sorry, I need to slip the mic there, okay, is I'm going to create a measuring line on each side and I'm going to put the angle down. So let me switch back to blue here really quick. So to do that, this is what we do. We come over here, since our vanishing point is so far away, we're going to draw a measuring line. We're going to have a straight line off to the side here, okay? After I get this measuring line down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to replicate the angles that are coming through from right here, and I'm going to draw them on that measuring line. This is a little guide for me, so when I'm drawing, I could quickly just look over to my measuring line and make sure that the angle of what I'm drawing is fitting into the same place. And the great thing about doing this is it saves me a lot of time where I don't always have to go back to my vanishing points. I can look at my measuring line and I can look at, so I know I don't have a line in between this line and this line. So I come over here. I know if I do that, that would be wrong because it's at the wrong angle, right? So what I can do is I come over here and I can draw a line that would be in the correct angle. And then even if I were to draw that from there, I can, oops, sorry, my ruler slid there for a minute. I can make sure that that angle is fitting in between the distance of the other lines, like so, okay, like it is. Okay, I'm going to come over, let's do the other side. So my other angle, you get a good idea for this on how the angles pitch. So here would be the other side, that angle would be about there. Let's bring that line down a little bit more. The angle's coming about right here. It's about there, and obviously as we get closer to that horizon line, the angles start to pan off. Okay, it starts to flatten out. Then it goes up, starts a little greater. It's getting greater there, and it's going to start to get greater there. All right, so now when I'm drawing, I don't have to worry about my VPs. I can use my grid, and I can look at my measuring lines on the side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop down the opacity of that really low, and that's it. Now I'm going to start drawing on top of that. So two methods of drawing, two different approaches. One is starting with a box and going to additive and subtracted methods of drawing, where we go in and start carving into shapes. But now I can draw through and make sure my box is correctly. So let me just draw a really quick box in this demo. So look, if my prop is here, oops, why is it not? I'm having a lag recorder. Got to press down to get this to work. There we go. So if I come in here and I start sketching, okay, I can draw a box correct in perspective, and I'm using my lines to match up to here. See that? So as I draw this line right here, I'm making sure it's matching up and everything's working correctly. Same thing here when I recede back. I'm using that dropped grid in the background as my guide to drawing my props now, and I'm just drawing a basic box. And of course, to make sure my prop is drawn correctly, I'm going to draw through, Okay, make sure that all my angles are correct. Let's bring that corner back this way. Make sure it lines up. There it is. Find the back. Come through there. Get the top, match up that angle. It's looking pretty good. There we go. So now I have my rough box started, and then I can start carving into that shape and drawing on top and define my prop. I'm showing you this method because the way that students tend to do it is they start drawing the prop first and then try to figure out the perspective later. That's wrong, because then the wheels are out of whack, the bumpers are out of whack, nothing is making sense. This is the easiest way to start. From here, you could keep adding more boxes. So I'm going to rough this out by hand. And this is actually what I do when I'm at home. I don't use the ruler all the time. I just use the guidelines to get me across. And I figure out how to draw through the shapes. So now as I start my prop, I know where that back wall is. I know how that connects to there. I know how that connects into here. So now I could come in here and just decide, like, you know, hey, if I have a car, maybe I have an angle in here. Now, what I like to do is I leave that box and then put another layer on top of it, another stepping stone. So I have the grid that guides me, I have the box that guides me, and now when I come over to here, is I start, let's say I'm going to draw some weird type of vehicle. You know, I figured out what one of the problems is whenever I work in Photoshop with Camtasia, I get a lag. And that's what's happening in here. Probably have to go into the, oops, slip there, the preferences and adjust the memory so I can allocate more memory to Photoshop. So now I can start coming in. Say I had some type of weird ship vehicle. Okay. Oops. I can figure out my center lines. I can figure out how something is coming. I can figure out how lines are wrapping around the body, where they're coming into, all that good stuff. I can put bumpers on the front. Just allows me to see how things are working a lot easier than before. Okay? It's a great way to sketch. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the whole design. If I was doing, start to get addictive. You're like, yeah, I got this cool spaceship, and it's got fins on it, right? Anyway, this aids me in my sketch process, is now me developing this, but you guys all have different props and designs to do. I just wanted to bring you to this point. So don't start with a blank piece of paper. Start this way. Map out the grid. Take a piece of that grid, copy and paste it, blow it up. Start with a simple box, and then start drawing your prop inside that box. And I guarantee you, you're 100% more likely to have matched perspective and to have something drawn correctly than if you just started on a blank page. All right, thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.